Hello, everyone. Let's start with a global misunderstanding that has fooled language learners for decades. Most people believe Chinese is one of the hardest languages to learn. They think its characters are mysterious, its tones are tricky, and its rules are complicated. But today, I'm going to break this stereotype completely. In fact, Chinese is the easiest structured language in the world for any foreign learner. Once you understand its core logic, you will realize every other mainstream language is far more difficult and chaotic. First, let's talk about the biggest advantage of Chinese: zero grammar. Zero grammar deformation. If you have ever learned English, French, Spanish, or German, you must have suffered from endless word changes. In English, we have verb tenses like walk, walked, walking. We have singular and plural nouns, one child, two children. We have third person singular changes, I go, he goes. We have different forms for adjectives and adverbs, comparative and superlative rules, and countless irregular exceptions that you have to memorize one by one. European languages are full of these redundant deformations. In German, every noun has a gender: masculine, feminine, neuter, and you have to change articles and adjectives accordingly. In French, you must adjust word spellings to match gender and number. All of these rules serve no practical communication purpose. They are just old, complicated traditions that make learning language a painful memory game. Chinese has none of this. Chinese words never change their forms, ever. Let's take a simple example. The word walk in Chinese is always the same. Yesterday I walk, today I walk, tomorrow I walk. One person walk, 100 people walk. Kids walk, adults walk. There are no tense challenges, no plural changes, no gender changes, no special third person rules. The word stays identical in every sentence, in every scenario. You only need to learn one single form and you can use it forever. This alone cuts your learning workload in half compared with English and other Western languages. Second, Chinese has the simplest tense systems in the world. Many language learners fear tenses the most because Western languages use complicated verb changes to show time differences. Chinese uses pure logic and simple auxiliary words to express time with zero words modification. We use simple words like yesterday, today, tomorrow, already, or will to clarify the timeline. The core verb never changes. Think about it. In English, you have to master past simple, present perfect, past continuous, future perfect, and more confusing tenses, and each requires a different verb form. In Chinese, time is just a clear logical addition to the sentence. No memorization, no irregular verbs, no grammar mistakes from wrong deformation. The tense rule in Chinese is consistent, universal, and 100% logical. There are almost no exceptions. For beginners, this is a game changer. Third, Chinese vocabulary is self-explanatory and highly logical, which makes vocabulary learning extremely efficient. In English, most new words are independent and random. You cannot guess the meaning of butterfly from butter and fly. You cannot figure out telephone from tele and phone without extra memorization. English vocabulary is fragmented and you have to memorize every new word individually. Chinese vocabulary follows strict common sense, and compound logic. Almost all compound words are built by combining basic simple characters. So you can guess the meaning without memorizing blindly. Let's look at easy examples. Okay, electricity plus brain equals computer. Fire plus car equals train. Hand plus phone equals mobile phone. Every compound word makes perfect sense. Once you master a few hundred basic characters, you can understand and create thousands of new words automatically. This is why Chinese vocabulary learning gets easier and faster over time. The more you learn, the more you can deduce. In contrast, English learning gets harder as you advance, because advanced words have more irregular spelling and unique definitions. Chinese builds a logical system in your brain, while Western languages force you to store countless isolated like pronunciation and tones, which are the most overhyped difficulty of Chinese. Many people fear Chinese tones, but in reality, Chinese pronunciation is far more regular than English. English has chaotic spelling and pronunciation rules. The same letter can have 10 different sounds, and countless words are pronounced completely differently from how they spelled. English has silent letter, irregular vowel sounds, and confusing stress rules with no fixed logic. Chinese pinyin, on the other hand, has fixed 100% consistent pronunciation rules. Once you learn the pinyin alphabet and 4 tones, you can pronounce every single Chinese character accurately. There are 0 silent letter, 0 irregular pronunciations, 0 unaccepted exceptions. The 4 tones are just for fixed pitch directions, simple and repetitive. After short-term practice, your mouth and ears will adapt completely. Moreover, Chinese syllables are short, clear, independent syllables with no complicated consonant clusters that exist in English. For example, English words like strength or splash have stacked consonants that are hard for global learners to pronounce. Chinese has no such difficult sounds. Every syllable starts and ends cleanly, making oral practice much easier, much simpler. Another huge advantage is Chinese flexible and human-friendly sentence structure. Western language have extremely strict sentences like structure. You must follow fixed subject, verb, objects, orders, strict clause rules, and rigid grammar structures. One small structure error makes your sentence sound completely wrong. Chinese prioritize meaning over rigid form. As long as your logic's clear and that you can understand it perfect, even if your word order is slightly adjusted. Chinese sentences are concise, direct, and efficient. We do not need redundant auxiliary words, prepositions to complete a sentence. You can express complex meanings with the simplest combination of characters. This tolerance and flexibility greatly reduce the pressure for beginners to speak boldly. Now, let's address the only concern most people have, like Chinese characters. It is true that writing Chinese takes more practice than spelling English words. But here is the truth. Speaking and listening, this is the core for communication, and for most language learners, the goal is to communicate, not to write. Calligraphy, perfectly, like write calligraphy. You can master daily Chinese speaking and listening in a very short time, while mastering daily English requires conquering messy grammar, tenses, and vocabulary exceptions. Besides, modern Chinese learning no longer relies solely on handwriting. With pinyin input, most people type and communicate digitally every day. Once you recognize correct characters and master pinyin, you can handle almost all daily communications scenarios smoothly. The writing difficulty is a tiny, overemphasized part of the whole language learning process. While all the core communication systems of Chinese are incredibly simple, let's summarize why Chinese is the easiest language in the world. First, no words, no word deformation, no tense changes, no gender rules, no plural confusion. Second, logical and transparent vocabulary that allows you to deduce new words instead of blind memorization. Third, fixed pronunciation rules with zero exceptions. Fourth, flexible sentence structures that prioritize meaning over rigid grammar. And fifth, the more you learn Chinese, the easier it becomes because it is a complete logical system built on common sense. All other mainstream languages are burdened with historical legacy rules that serve no modern communication purpose. They are full of exceptions, redundancies, and illogical designs that waste learners' time and energy. Chinese is designed for efficient communication. It is concise, orderly, logical, and human-friendly. So, the next time you hear someone say Chinese is hard, you can tell them the truth. Chinese is not difficult. It is just different from Western languages. It abandons all useless and complicated grammar burdens and retains only the pure essence of language, expressing meaning clearly and simply. Chinese is the most reasonable, systematic, and easiest language to master in the long run. It does not trick learners with random exceptions or chaotic rules. It rewards every bit of your practice with steady, visible progress. That is why Chinese is undoubtedly the easiest language in the world to learn. Thank you everyone for listening. I'll see you next time.